Hey everyone, Mrs. Slauson. We are going to be making a cheat sheet for our chapter. It's going to help us get through some of the word problems. And when we come back at another chapter, we're doing linear and exponential again. So what I want you to do is have a piece of paper. It can be notebook, anything that you want, but not used. And I want you to take it and I want you to fold it hamburger style. So there's hot dog and there's hamburger. We're just going to do hamburger, all right? So just fold it in half, and one side is going to be our cheat sheet for linear, and the other side is going to be our cheat sheet for exponential. So I'm just going to keep it folded in half, all right? And I'm just going to take the top, and I'm kind of doing this on the fly, and I don't know how this is going to look. But what we're going to do is we're going to have our linear cheat sheet. All right, and then I'm going to kind of divide it into sections. So I think I only need like 4 sections. So I'm just going to take this and go in 4, just kind of draw like a big, like that. Do you see how that's looking? So first, what is it that I need for you to know about linear? Well, you got to know its equation. So let's talk about y equals mx plus b. Okay? So let's remind ourselves of what that looks like as a picture. So linear is going to be a line going uphill. We should have arrows, and it's going to be a line going downhill. In our other 2 parts, we're going to make sure we know everything about m and everything about b. So let's start with m. So if we have m is our slope. That's its official name. And how do we find m? Well, if you have a picture, so if you have your graph, you can actually see m by counting the rise, how many goes up or down, and the run, how many times it goes left or right, to get from one easy point to a next. And that's something that you should have learned in middle school, all right? If you have a table, then in a table, this is the amount that they would add or subtract each time. Okay? And just throwing it in there, but it actually will not happen in this section. I don't think it will. Maybe it will. If you need to, you can also do your average rate of change formula, where you can subtract your y coordinates, ooh, that's supposed to be parentheses, and your x coordinate in the bottom. All right? Got it? So that's everything about slope. I think these 2 are going to be the most important to us, but you should still remember this one. All right. Oh, let's add one more thing. Let's remember that m is married to x. And when I mean married, m is for married. We talked about that, and there's your m. It's right next to x, so it's married. Remember, you can pause and get caught up with the writing. So now let's talk about b. So b is going to be the number that's by itself. So see how it's all alone. It's going to be the beginning amount, which is very important in our word problems. Its official name is the y-intercept. It's where x is always 0, okay? And it's where it crosses or intercepts the y-axis, okay? I don't know if I'm going to add any more to this. I don't know. We'll have to see. I will say, if you are having trouble finding your m, this might be a case. So if you're having trouble finding if you're struggling finding your y, or I'm sorry, your m, what you could do, if you can't see what they're adding and adding by or subtracting by each time, just realize that you can use the opposite. You know, if they're adding, you can use subtraction. I think that'll make more sense once we start to do some examples. So I'm actually not going to put this there. So if you have an eraser, erase it. All right, let's make our cheat sheet for the exponential side. So I'm just going to write exponential here. And I'm going to kind of put this in 4 parts for now. Notice I did this one, I realized, more room on the bottom. So our exponential equation is going to be y equals b, and then in parentheses, this is multiplying g, and make sure your x is a little exponent. As far as our shapes go, this is actually called exponential growth, and this is called exponential, this is your decay. All right? Let's talk about the different parts. So let's put b over here. So again, b is going to have the same job. So b is your beginning amount. I wouldn't know if I would say it's by itself, but g is kind of closer with x, so I guess you could say that it's by itself. So remember, b by itself, b beginning. Again, it's when x is 0, always, and it's also known as the y-intercept. So b is the same pretty much whether we're linear or exponential. So it's the g that we're going to actually add a little bit more to. So g is known as the growth factor. G is technically what you multiply by each time. And that's how we would see it, if we were looking, I'm going to put this in parentheses, in a table. A table is a really easy way to see that. Sometimes we're not so great at figuring out what we're multiplying by. So if you can't figure that out, to get g, take whatever y value that you're looking at, and you're going to divide it by the previous y. Bye. Okay? Now, that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes I'm not going to give you g. Sometimes I'm going to be giving you r, which you're going to hear about in the next video. So we're going to write this down, and it's going to make a little bit more sense as we go into the next video. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry, I had to answer a quick text. So anyway, g is the y value, and I just divide it by the previous y value. So as I mentioned, we're going to be learning about percents, and your percent is going to be this r value that exists. And so g, to figure out g, you're going to have to take 1, and you're going to have to add or subtract this r, and you'll be turning your percent into a decimal. So just make sure of that. And you're like, what is she talking about? That's going to come up in the next video. So realize that we can modify this formula up here. So if you don't see it doubling or tripling or timesing by 4 or timesing. Okay, I keep pausing this video. I don't know if you know that or not. My son just stopped by and now I'm totally distracted. All right, we're going to modify this formula. And so if you are given a percent in these word problems that will be coming up, you can modify it. And this fact that I told you that g can be 1 plus or minus, again, this will make sense in the next video. I can modify it to this. So you've got this little cheat sheet. Don't use it. It will be very helpful, and we will probably be adding things as we move along. So just keep that in mind. All right, that is your cheat sheet video. Put it in a safe spot because, again, it comes back somewhere second semester, and it would be really great if we could all just have this out with us.